Hello everyone, I welcome you back to this wonderful session which was conducted by us, that is the CSAP team, on 17, 18th and 19th June. That is the full length test series for your upcoming APSc mains. So today I am here to discuss with you the full length test series questions as well as their respective answers. Okay, where I will discuss about the paper 3 GS2, which goes with the subjects and topics like the polity, governance and international relations. Okay, so this will be presented by me. My name is Csap Kalita. Okay, so therefore let's start with the today's analysis. So in the first part of the question, you has been asked with the question that the Supreme Court's consideration of environmental issues is India's most important modern legal accomplishments. With the aid of pertinent legal precedents, debate this assertion. That is 10 marks, 150 words that you have to write. See, what is being asked over here? It has been asked about the constitutionalization of environmental related issues, okay, which has been facing a good number of legal challenges in the coming times. So therefore you have to introduce it with consideration of environmental issues refers to alignment of such issues with violations of individuals or collective fundamental rights. So here mainly the focus is on environment and the respective rights that we have with respective to the environmental concerns. So here you have to go with number 1 point, right to a pollution free environment, which is also our basic right, which is gone with some of the cases like the Subhas Kumar versus State of Bihar in 1991. Okay, then here the Supreme Court ruled that the right to a pollution free environment is a basic right under Article 21 of the Constitution. So this question is basically a part of the static questions which has been referred in this particular phenomena. Second of key polluters pay principle, which has been established by the MC Mehta versus Union of India 1986. तो एक केस बिलाक जेहेतु लीगल अकम्प्लिशमेंट और কথা কৈছিলে এই কেস বিলাক আমাৰ কাৰণে বহুত ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট হৈ যায় which you need to mention in the respective answers. Okay, then you have to write ahead right to clean air, where MC Mehta versus Union of India, the Supreme Court introduced the graded response action plan, that is the GRAP. এই কথাটো ক'ব লাগিব. Then you have to say about the right to compensatory afforestation, যেটো আমি কি বুলি কওঁ ক্যাম্পা বুলি কওঁ, CAMPA ক্যাম্পা বুলি কৈ আছো আমি. So এই কথাটো আমি ক'ব লাগিব. Okay, so here you can see CAMPA Act of 2016. So therefore you just have to end up that SC as a guardian of fundamental rights has effectively employed the provision of laws and judicial pronouncement to protect citizens' right to environment as fundamental right and the right to dignified life. So keneke ami environmental related concerns to fundamental rights introduce kori pelai how well we can manage these things well with respect to the recent cases that has been promulgated by the Supreme Court. এই বস্তুখিনি লিখি পেলাই আমি গোটে আনসারটো ফ্রেম কৰিব লাগিব. চলো, coming up with the next answer. Do you agree that parliamentary privileges should be codified considering their abuse and infringement on people's fundamental right? তো ইয়াতে মেইনলি কিহৰ কথা কোৱা গৈছে parliamentary privileges. এইটোৱে মেইন topic হয় which you need to go ahead in your respective answer. Okay, so এইটোৰ কথাই ক'ব লাগিব আমি. So here you have to just introduce about what are the houses and how are the parliamentary committees are basically framed inside the respective houses. So what is the conflict between the privileges? First conflict ki ase yate. So here it has been said that the privileges of the House of People is basically more as compared to the House of the Commons. That is, we can see about that the Lok Sabha has got more powers in comparison to the Rajya Sabha in terms of powers and privileges. It was our first article. Then secondly, yata saise that what is the instances of misuse that has been seen in the context of parliamentary committees. So misuse or instances ki ase, you can see that lack of privileges codification leads to ambiguity and templates on the right to free speech and expression. 2 senior tabloid reporters from Canada were imprisoned in 2017 for violating the state assembly privileges. So you have to even quote a respective example where you have to give some of the hint that in which criteria or in which cases or in which occasions we can see that the conflict of privileges directly come into prominence with respect to the parliamentary system. Okay, So yate largely gute answer to bhalke diya ase. You just have to implement in the way that you have been given with the model answer. Chalo, coming to the next one. India and Sri Lanka's long-time friend, considering the statement that came before, talk about India's involvement in the current conflict in Sri Lanka. So yate India and Sri Lanka is to IR context of, because this question is basically for the IR, international relations. And we all know that how important Sri Lanka is for us. Basically in terms of security and maritime trade, amar kan Sri Lanka khan bahut besi important. Aru enko nohoy je Sri Lanka lor amar bahut purana touch nai. Sri Lanka is very much in touch with us from a very long period of time. Okay, so aji jodi moi kau that more than 2500 years have been passed since India and Sri Lanka first met. Intellectual, cultural, religious and linguistic exchanges between the two nations is history. So today we know that amar India and Sri Lanka major relations to jete moi kobole jao tetia hole relations are intellectual also, cultural also, religious also and also linguistic exchange. So phale amar interactions ase, and this interactions is very necessary once we are directly talking the country of Sri Lanka, which is all very important for us. So heikini kotha di pelai introduction ta dibo lagibo. Then you have to see about the political relations. All political relations er kotha kola. Tapsot অলপ চলপ আমি ক'ব লাগিব about the relations that we can see, that is the commercial relations, political relations or context of মই গুটেবিলাক পইণ্ট এটা কভাৰ আপ কৰি দিছো. You just have to take around hardly 2 to 3 points in terms of political relations. You just have to take some commercial relations, দুটা তিনটা পইণ্ট লৈ ললা. Supposedly in the terms of commercial relations, you can take that Sri Lanka has been a top choice for India's direct investment, and among the SAARC nations, Sri Lanka is one of the India's biggest commercial partners. Okay, in the context, তোমালোকে হৰুকে commercial relations will লিখা, তাৰ লগত হৰুকে এটা clause add কৰি দিয়া, that will be more than sufficient to answer a question of around 150 words. Okay, so therefore you have to just go ahead. মই এটা গুটেইটা point include কৰি দিছো. Whichever suits you the best, you can pick any one of them and you can directly write on your respective points. Okay, tapsot you can see about the culture and education relations. You can even say periodic cultural exchange programs between the two nations. Cultural agreement that the two governments signed up in November 29, 1977 by providing classes in Indian music, dance, Hindi and yoga. So ina kata cultural relations ahi jay amar por. Okay, so এই বস্তুখিনি আমাৰ কাৰণে বহুত ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট হৈ যায়. So you can pick any points from this particular phenomena. তাৰপিছত defense and security তোমালোকে অলপ চলপ ক'ব পাৰা that there is a long history of security collaboration between Sri Lanka and New Delhi. The two sides have steadily improved their military to military ties in recent years. তো এই কথাখিনিও আমাৰ কাৰণে এটা ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট strategy হৈ যায়. So এইটো আমি চাব লাগিব. That is one of the very important clauses. Okay, so এইখিনি আমি চাই পেলাই we have to go ahead with this particular question. Also issues and conflicts তোমালোকে চাই দিলে ইয়াতে গুটেখিনি লিখা আছে, that will be more than sufficient for you all. Okay, chalo, let's start with the question number 4. So here you have been seen, it has been asked, ensuring that the regulatory institutions maintain their independence and autonomy is essential for accomplishing the desired goals. Discuss in the context of current experiences. So here, what is the probable question, or what is the probable thing that has been asked in this context of this question? Here, regulatory institutions are being framed. Regulatory institutions means what? It is something supposedly tell about RBI, Reserve Bank of India, okay? Uske baad IRDAI, okay? So all these things are basically something which is known as regulatory institutions. So yate ami first regulatory body ki hoy ami hetu koi lulu, okay? Tapsot the accomplishment of regulatory bodies, mainly the technicalities of these bodies are being laid down, are technically independent. Ki hoy features kini koi dila, thik ase ekhini koi dila, that whether will be a RBI inflation control, SEBI, financial fraudsters, ei gute bilak try mane ki hoy telecom regulatory authority of India. So ekhini bostu amar karone important hoy jay. Okay, then you can say about the NSCL scam, as example dilla. More importantly, that an institution's legislative authority and autonomy is the character and the caliber of its workforce. Ekhini kotha koila. Then I can also say about the University Grant Commission. So University Grant Commissioner jeta kotha tu ahe, that means the Grant Commission or the UGC, which is regulating the universities across this country. So hekhini kotha eta regulatory bodies or ahi jabo amar. Thik ase? So ei gutekhini ami eta example বা এটা আমি regulatory body লৈ প্লাই তেখেতসকলৰ functions খিনি আমি অলপ কৈ দিলে, I can say that this question or this answer is very much of suffice. Last ot koi dile at the conclusion that how India with its regulatory institutions has engraved its further aspect and how this could serve as a basic essentialities for us in the coming times. Okay. After there are benefits and drawbacks to India's growing interest in Africa. Examine critically. Mane critically analyze koribo dise ki India's role in the African nations. So here that at a introduction, India is demonstrating willingness to capacity and shoulder for more responsibility in cooperating with Africa to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. So therefore today we know that what is Africa today was India at some point of time in around 1950s or 1960s. So today we know that if we wants to improve the basic necessities which Africa wants as a union today, যদি মই আমি তাহাঁতক support কৰিবলৈ লাগে, then we could know that what were our past and how we have improved from our past. So we are basically a good example for the African Union. So সেই বস্তুটোকে আমি collaborative approach আগুৱাই লৈ যাব লাগিব. So you can say that opportunities in India-Africa relations, কি opportunity আছে? First opportunity, addressing food security আছে. Second, voice of developing world, India could lead up, combating neo-colonialism, okay, যেনেকৈ চাইনাই কৰি আছে through its debt trap policies. Then establishing strategic convergence, যেনেকৈ আমি today we can know about the Egypt, even the order of 9 has been recently gifted to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That means the people of India. So Egypt has got a greater proximity towards the country of India. Then preventing global rivalries, এইবিলাক আমি prevent কৰিব পাৰো. Okay, so that is one of the crux elements that you need to discuss with this particular relations. আৰু সেইটো বস্তু বহুত important হৈ যায় Africa relations, because recently Indian Prime Minister has went to Egypt and also received the greatest honor of this country. Okay, both important হৈ আছে. So you can expect any question coming in from the Egypt also, okay, based on the IR. Then talk about the challenges India is facing in obtaining a permanent seat on the UNSC. Very static question. India ki challenges face kori ase, okay, aru India main maksad to ki hoy, kihor kane India khumabo bisare UNSC permanent seat based on. So ekhini kotha ami yate detailly kobo lage. Okay, nothing more to explain because mo already ebla bostu static portion ami covered korisu. Okay, so you can lie down that what are the major aims of India in this particular UNSC seat and what are the challenges India is facing in this particular context. Okay. তাৰপিছত আহিব কি গোটেইখিনি লিখা আছে, তোমালোকে ভালকে চাই ল'বা, PDF টো গম পাই যাবা. Kerala's Kudumbushi schemes recently celebrated its 25th anniversary. Discuss the role that self-help groups play in advancing women's empowerment and reducing poverty in India's rural areas considering this. So ইয়াত mainly কিহৰ কথা কোৱা গৈ আছে? ইয়াত mainly কোৱা গৈ আছে about the self-help groups. What is the role of this SHGs? SHGs main role to কি হয়? Self-help group or main role to ki, self-help group or main aim to ki hoi jai, etu yate purely discuss kora hoise. Okay, so Kudumbushi aims to reduce poverty and empower women through democratic leadership and support structures. So what is the main aim of Kudumbushi? Etu logot ami jano je Kudumbushi is today very much famous in West Asia also, even in the African Union also. So etu bostu ami sabo lagibo. তাৰপিছত ইয়াতে ক'ব লাগে যে Kudumbushi, which is Malayalam, means prosperity of the family, focuses on eradicating poverty and empowering women. It also encourages democratic leadership and offers support networks inside the Kudumbushi family. So obviously আমি অলপ definition দিব লাগিব কিহৰ ওপৰত? Kudumbushi ওপৰত. Okay, তাৰপিছত you have to say about what is self-help groups and what can self-help groups can achieve in the current circumstances today we have and all the problems that we have today in our countries. Okay, so এইখিনি অকমান ক'ব লাগিব, role of SHGs, women empowerment কেনেকৈ কৰিব পাৰে, economic empowerment কৰিব পাৰে, ঠিক আছে? Then overcoming social barriers, there লিখা আছে. Then improve socio-economic status, এইখিনি অকমান আমি explain কৰি দিব লাগিব. Then access to financial services, okay, supposedly Prime Minister Gramin Yojana যিমান বিলাক আমাৰ আছে, okay, তাৰ লগত আমি যিমানখিনি financial inclusions কৰিবলৈ গৈ আছো, সেইখিনিও এটা important aspect হৈ যায়. Okay, then you can see alternative employment opportunities. So self-help groups may directly provide alternative employment opportunities for whom? For the people who are a part of this particular scenario. Okay, so এইখিনি কথা কৈ পেলাই আমি এন্ড কৰিব লাগিব. Next কি আহিলে? Despite the difficulties of the Indian Parliament had in carrying out its responsibilities as a legislative and representational body, as well as the steps taken to overcome them. Okay, so ইয়াতে mainly কিহৰ কথা কৈছে? That about the Indian Parliament that has its responsibilities as a legislative and representational body, because we also know it to be the House of Representatives. That is mainly the Indian Parliament, that is the Lok Sabha. So ইয়াতে ক'ব লাগে ইণ্ডিয়ান পাৰ্লিয়ামেণ্টটো কি হয়, challenges faced by the Indian Parliament, very static questions, ইয়াতে মই বেছি definitions দি নাথাকো, ইয়াতে বেছি explanations কৰি নাথাকো ইয়াতে, okay? So ইয়াতে আমি জানো যে আজি challenges কি কি আছে, disruption and adjournments, okay? বাৰে বাৰে উঠাই গুচি যায়, okay? মাৰ্চ আউট কৰি দিয়ে, কেতিয়াবা disruptions কৰি দিয়ে, voting নকৰে, debate and discussions ভালকে নহয়, তেতিয়া ভালকে closures বিলাক নহয়, okay? So সেইবিলাক আমাৰ চাব লাগিব। তাৰপিছত we can see about that lack of participation, okay? আজি ইমান আমাৰ এটা মেনুৱেল আছে that everything needs a quorum মানে কি হয়, around 1/10, তো কেতিয়াবা আমি 1/10 টোই নাপাওঁ, okay? তো এটো কাৰণে আমাৰ কাৰণে বহুত ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট হৈ যায় যে there would be proper attendance in this particular parliament, okay? So এই বস্তুটো আমি চাব লাগিব। Then you can see poor quality of legislation, okay? Because কিছুমান বস্তু আমাৰ কেতিয়াও ভালকে debate and discussion নহয় আৰু তাৰ কাৰণে এটা poor outcome আমাৰ ওলাই আহে, okay? That is one of the main aspect. Then you can see lack of diversity, আজি ইমান diversity নাই, women representation বহুত কম, সব সেকশনৰ মানুহ তাত নাহে, এটো আমাৰ প্ৰবলেম আহি আছে। Low productivity বহুত delay হৈ যায় because there will be various delays in the respective circumstances. তাৰপিছত measures taken to address the challenges, code of conduct লাগিব, technology adoption লাগিব, okay? Committee system লাগিব, disciplinary actions লাগিব against the person who are doing misdeeds. তো হেতু কাৰণে আজি আমি দেখিছো যে নিউ পাৰ্লিয়ামেন্টৰ যেটো বিল্ডিং হয়, সেই বিল্ডিংটোত obviously বহুতখিনি আমাৰ তেনেকুৱা সিনাৰিও হৈছে যত আমি টেকনলজিৰ পাৰ্টিসিপেশন লৈছো। So that is one of the major criteria why we need to have this number of actions associated with the Indian Parliament. Okay, lastly the conclusion the end কৰি দিব। Next, what are the main issues that border regions of rural India are facing and how many other vibrant village program help discuss? So here mainly the vibrant village programs যেটো আমাৰ recently newsত আছিলে or recently our even Prime Minister Narendra Modi বা any other central ministers, they have directly actively participated in this vibrant village program. So etu amar karone eta important aspect hoy jay, okay? So etu ami sabo lagibo। So what are the key challenges faced by the rural Indian border areas? First ki hoy limited infrastructures, border areas of hodai security challenge to eta challenge thake, tar upor ki hoy jay ei jagah to keteo development নহয়, okay? Because obviously that is a very war torn area, বহুত খিনি মানুহ least develop হৈ থাকে তাত, okay? বহুত খিনি amenities গৈ নাপাই গৈ তাত, because obviously it's a sensitive region. So এটো কাৰণে limited infrastructure থাকে। তাৰপিছত inadequate access to basic amenities, okay? ভালকে পানী পা নাপায়, okay? ভালকে কিছুমান যিখিনি necessities হয়, living necessities হয় হেখিনি নাপায়। So all these problems are there, okay? You can see particularly in border regions affecting their health and well-being, proper hospitals না থাকে, proper schools না থাকে, proper colleges না থাকে, proper roads না থাকে, এটা একটা problem হয়। Then poor healthcare facilities, etu মই কলো, low literacy rate, education নাই, literacy নহব, economic instabilities, market বিলাকো ভাল নহয়, they have to come a long way to sell their respective products. তো এটো না আমাৰ situation আহি যায়। So role of vibrant village program কি হ'ব? Empowering rural communities, mainly to empower the rural communities. Also providing necessary infrastructures, develop কৰাব, promoting socio economic development, okay? Market access বহাব, okay? Market বিলাক তালে পোৱাব, all these things. Improving healthcare facilities, সৰু কিছুমান healthcare centers আমি তাতে বহাব লাগিব, okay? So all these things are a part of this particular one, and that is the vibrant village program. Next, in contrast to political parties, pressure groups are created to address pressing issues, discuss the various strategies used by pressure organizations to achieve their objectives. Direct question হয়, pressure groups লৈ apply কৰিছে, pressure groups কোনবিলাক হয়? They are not a political party, they do not have got political aims, but at some point of time they might end up ending into a political party, but mainly the pressure groups are for some of the pressures that needs to be exerted on the respective government for framing some of the policies on their own context, okay? তো আজি এনেকুৱা আমাৰ প্ৰেছাৰ গ্ৰুপছ বহুত হ'ব, এগ্ৰেৰিয়ান প্ৰেছাৰ গ্ৰুপছ থাকিব পাৰে, কিছুমান মাৰ্কেট বেসড প্ৰেছাৰ গ্ৰুপছ থাকিব পাৰে। সো অল দিস থিংস আৰ পাৰ্ট অফ দিস প্ৰেছাৰ গ্ৰুপছ। তো ইয়াৰ প্ৰেছাৰ গ্ৰুপছ কি হয়? ফাৰ্স্ট ডেফিনিশন দি ললা, তাৰপিছত দে পাৰসু দ্য ইন্টাৰেষ্ট বাই এডপ্টিং ডিফাৰেন্ট মেথডস। কি মেথডস হয়? হেভিং আ গুড ৰিলেশনশিপ উইথ দ্য ৰুলিং পাৰ্টিৰ লগত যদি ভাল হৈ থাকে, অবভিয়াসলি তাহাঁতৰ ফেভৰতে গোটেইখিনি প্ৰেছাৰ গ্ৰুপছে নিজৰ ডিসিশনবিলাক ল'ব পাৰিব। হাউ টু ফাণ্ড পলিটিকেল পাৰ্টিজ? সো সামটাইমছ you can see that political parties are supported by pressure organizations both during election seasons and occasionally even outside them. And additionally, they make certain that the parties' candidates have senior positions in the government. So, it was our kisuman techniques dekha jai in terms of pressure groups. Then you can see close ties to the bureaucratic apparatus. So, in order to persuade bureaucracy and high-ranking officials of their perspectives, pressure groups also keep them amused. So, pressure groups hodai eta higher level bureaucracy logot hodai mila piti ke thake. Okay, then particularly when their interests are at stake, pressure organizations attempt to have representatives in the numerous committees that the government occasionally forms. So it was our context. To get their demand realized, pressure groups like trade unions use tactics like strikes, protests, gheeraos, etc. So etu amar ta dangor context hoy jay in this particular scenario. Okay, তাৰপিছত financing caste and religious organization. So pressure groups exploit caste, creed and religion to gain their cooperation, financing organizations and donating money at public meeting to become popular with them. So A2 amar eta bahut important factor hoy when we are talking about pressure groups, because at some point of time these pressure groups exploit the caste discriminations that is happening in the society to leverage their own benefits in this particular country. So A bostu eta ahi jay in this particular context. So that was all with the 10 marks of questions. So let's go with the another question, that is the question number 11 in the part B. So we are done with the 10 marker questions, okay, which is of 150 words. Okay, so now part B. Do department related parliamentary standing committees keep the administrations on its toes and inspire reference for parliamentary control? Evaluate the working of such committees. So here mainly kihor committee ta kotha koa ase, parliamentary standing committees. Okay, so ekhini kotha koa goise. So you have to introduce about that what are the ministries and departments of the Indian government are represented by the department related parliamentary committees. So parliamentary related committees are very important for us when we talk in reference to Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. Okay, briefly introduction dilla. Tapos ami ki kobo lagibo, functions of department related parliamentary standing committees. So department related, suppose a department, Ministry of Home Department eta hol, okay, supposedly Department of Science and Technology, Department of Atomic Energy, another department hoy jay. So ekhini eta amar parliamentary standing committees bonwa jay. So etu ami sabo lagibo, functions of department related parliamentary. To yate gote khini functions ami likha ase, amar gote khini moi provide kori dia ase. So you could write at least the number of functions which will be suitable for you once you are discussing the answers in the context of 250 words. To himan khini likhibo lage, tatke beshi likhibo na lage. So yate to take into account and report on the request of grants, ekhini kotha kobo lagibo. To review and report on the bills, etu kotha mainly. To take into account and report on the ministries departments yearly reports, kiman goal, kiman khorch korile, kiman tekhela korile yearly reports sebla ami sabo lagibo. If the chairman or the speaker of the case may be refers to the committee to evaluate national basic long term policies, ebla policies implementations kini ami sabo lagibo. Okay, tarpor you have to say about the significance of this particular parliamentary committees, ki hor karone ama parliamentary committees to lage. So yate gote khini koa ase. Supposedly these committees are giving the essential directions, advice and input amak lagibo, because without these parliamentary committees you cannot directly afford to go ahead with a department or a ministry which is basically important in the context of the Indian government. Okay, so a committee of 30 people may analyze a subject more effectively than a room full of 700 people. So hetu karone committee bonwa jay. The time spent by the 24 DRCs in total reviewing the grant requests from all of the ministries is equivalent to 30 days of the parliament's operation. They allow for the participation of experts and those who may be directly impacted by a law or policy. So another factor when we tell in discussions with this respective scenario of polity. Okay, so members can discuss topics and come to agreement without being concerned about consequences of party pressures when they are out of the public eye. So we have significance, we have seen about the significance of this parliamentary standing committees which are essential for every form of execution by these ministries or the concerned ministries which are dedicatedly important for the Indian government to directly run aside. That's what the other issues or challenges of the since it has been said about that how it is directly functioning. So there is a problem with openness in committees operations. Recommendations are very poor at some point of time and also very much advisory. So they are not bounding on the respective ministry. So they can only advise. Absence of enduring research backing. Not every bill is sent to a department standing committee. So a bostu bila kokoman kisuman challenges ahi jay with respective to this committee. So iman khini jo likhi dia, I can guarantee you that you can expect a marks of around 6 to 7 marks in this 15 marker questions. Tapos ahi jay 12. Despite India's commitment to rural decentralization, panchayats could not live up to their potential. Discuss. So here first ami ki koribo lagibo, at the national level Indian practice republican parliamentary democracy which is also practiced at the level of states that make up the Union of India. So here mainly kihor kotha koa goise, India's commitment to rural decentralization means the three tier of government system that we can see today in our country, mainly the central government, mainly the state government, and then the local self government which can be collaborated into the municipalities as well as the panchayats. Okay, so a bostu tu yate ahi jay. So yate ami korilu that the national level ki koribo lage. Tapos I can say about that what is basically the state level, and then we can see about the implementation of this local self government. Okay, so tar local self government or kisuman functions tumalke koi dila that will be more than sufficient for you to write in this particular answer. So ekhini jodi koi dia, I can say that you can directly aim to get a good amount of marks in this particular question, which has been asked basically for democratic decentralization, which can be seen both in the center as well as the states. Okay, tarpor amar ahi jay about the next question, that is, when there is a citizen participation in budgeting and closer engagement of citizens in the monitoring of civil works, there are better outcomes and fewer leakages. In the light of the given statement, discuss the utility of the participatory budgeting. So yate mainly kihor kotha koa goise, when we say about budgeting, it basically says about participatory budgeting, or generally amar India eta bahut eta common terminology chori ase, which is known as participatory democracy. And why participatory democracy is very much in the limelight? Because I can directly say that participatory democracy is very important in the context of India. Because today moi aji amar kotha ko, supposedly if I say about today's nation, today's India's territory, so participatory democracy is something which is essential in the context of India, just because today, because of social media, the increasing number of participation is there in the context of participatory democracy. আজি social media পৰা Facebook হক, Instagram হক, okay, এইবিলাকৰ কাৰণে কি বাঢ়িছে, মানুহৰ participation বাঢ়িছে in every decision making process. So এটো আমাৰ কাৰণে এটা important aspect হৈ যায়, that is participatory democracy. তো ইয়াতে mainly participatory budgeting ৰ কথা কৈছে. It's a cutting edge method of formulating policy. Decisions are made with the direct participation of the public, and this initiative aims to include the public in policy making, promoting administrative change, and allocate public funds to low income areas. যিখিনি ডেভেলপ এৰিয়া নহয় তাতে কেনেকৈ পাৰ্টিসিপেশন কৰিব লাগে, হেতু কনটেক্সটত আমি চাব পাৰো যে হাউ উই ক্যান এনগেজ পাৰ্টিসিপেটৰি বাজেটিং. সো এটো আমাৰ বহুত ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট ফিনোমেনন হৈ যায় when we talk about participatory budgeting. So the idea which was to develop in Porto Alegre in Brazil in the middle of the 1980s is now used in thousands of towns all over the world. Eto amar eta important factor hoy jay when we discuss about participatory budgeting. Then participatory advantage ki hoy, bahut khini advantage ase. Boys in civil governance, obviously yate bahut kita points amar khumai ase. Civic governance, that means the public government, civilian government. Okay, here the first factor hetu ahi jay. Then community ownership, যদি আজি মই এটা কমিউনিটিৰ কথা কওঁ, দেন অবভিয়াসলি এই পাৰ্টিসিপেশন ৰে কি হৈ যাব, এটা কমিউনিটিৰ ওনাৰশিপ এখন পাৰ্টিকুলাৰ অৰ্গানাইজেশন বা এটা পাৰ্টিকুলাৰ টাউনশিপ বা এটা পাৰ্টিকুলাৰ সিটি বা এটা পাৰ্টিকুলাৰ ডিস্ট্ৰিক্ট কলে গুছি যায়. সো দ্যাট ইজ ওয়ান অফ দি ভেরি ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট এসপেক্ট when we want to expect something more in terms of community ownership. তাৰপিছত obviously it solves inefficiencies brought on by improperly pressing municipal tax in relation to citizen requirements. তাৰপিছত কি কৰে, facilitating equity to facilitate kori ase. Participatory decision making and the distribution of public resources depend on actively involving communities in the advancement of equality and the eradication of inequities. Etu karone amar important hoy jay when we discuss about facilitating equity. Tarpor last but not least, it enhances last mile accountability for civic work such as citizens watch budget execution. Budget khon keneke banabo lagibo, budget khonot ki khumabo lagibo, to obviously the participation is basically coming in from the citizens. And one citizen is discussing something, one citizen is saying something, at some point of time we need to have a proper accountability of what the citizens want and what should be placed inside a respective budget. Okay, so yate first etu ahi gol. Tasot increasing trust between government and people. Manhor participation beshi hole government jodi manhor kotha khuni pele kiba ta banai ase, then obviously yate manhor confidence level to bahi jay in respective to the government which they are basically claiming. Okay, so etu mainly amar budget or participatory budgeter kotha ahi jay. Or obviously etu amar inclusive hoy because it is going across sections of communities and societies. Etu challenges ki ase, lack of information and knowledge participants. So as is june participation kori ase, maybe the knowledgeable people who knows about that particular element may not be participating. So tar karone ta damor challenge ahi ase. Okay, that's what you can say about that time consuming. Iman khini manu 1.3 billion people job jodi khulibole jay, then obviously it's a very challenging task. So etu eta amar challenge ahi ase because time consuming hoy jay bahut. Okay, so ekhini reply koleu you are more than sufficient to respectively go ahead with the answer. Question number 14 at jao. Analyze the significance of India-Australia relation in the context of regional and global dynamics. Suggest the measures with the further strengthening the relations with Australia. Mainly yate India-Australia relationship kotha hudise a part of the IR. Okay, so yate kobo lagibo about what India and Australia has got a significance. Relation to kiman significant hoy, relation to kiman equity level to kiman easy hoy. So ekhini osabli introduction or koi dia, then we can directly share. Okay, everything with respect to this one. So first our function ki hobo political and strategic. First function with respect to India Australia relation kiman jagat cooperation kore politically. Okay, important hoise. Then you can say about economic and trade, all of data dibo lagibo. In financial year 22 commerce between India and Australia was expected to be around kiman $25 billion, and the economic cooperation and trade agreement ECTA was put into effect by Australia and India in 2022. Very important. By 2023, India and Australia hope to have completed a comprehensive trade agreement that will result in the bilateral commence of $100 billion with an emphasis on vital minerals and increased cooperation. Then coal, iron ore, gold, copper, tourist and education services, agriculture, goods, machinery, machines and other major trade items between India and Australia are one of the rampant mechanisms through which we are directly promoting some of the business in this particular country. Since 2011, India and Australia have been discussing a comprehensive economic cooperation agreement, and the objective are to increase investment, encourage trade in goods and services, and reduce non-tariff barriers. So, ekita amar karone eta important aspect hoy jay when we talked about trade as well as relations between India and Australia. That's culture and people to people. As I know that today Punjabi is slowly becoming the most spoken language in Australia. Our about culture relations to ase amar osor. ঠিক আছে তো হেখিনি কথা অকমান কৈ দিলে I can say that this will more than suffice. So major to strengthen কি হবো? So obviously আমি কোয়াডত কৰি আছো আজি মালাবাৰ এক্সাৰসাইজ তো অস্ট্রেলিয়া আহি আছে অকাস বুলি এটা সামিট আহিছে যত ইভেন some of the countries which India has got good ties তেখেতসকল এই কান্ট্ৰিখনত এই কোঅপাৰেচন আছে. So all these things today we are basically enhancing today in respective with the country of Australia. So ekhini jodi kotha koi dia I can say that this will be more than sufficient for you to answer this particular question. Okay, next, one significant events have occurred in the Indian-Thailand diplomatic ties over the past 75 years. Talk about how two countries can use this relationship to further their strategic collaboration going forward. So etu mainly ahile ki India and Thailand's diplomatic ties of 75 years. That is Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav. Okay, next, eta ahibo ki ya just koila the Indian Thailand relationship kiman dinor purana aru ki jaga ties kore. Tarpot ki milestone mainly partnership korisu, multilateral cooperation korisu. Okay, then you can see about defense cooperation ami korisu olop solop. Okay, then you can say about economic and commercial partnership or kotha ase, then cooperation in the field of education ebilakor logot ase. Okay, so ek gute kini then measures to enhance this ties keneke aru ami ties to bohabo paru bhal koribo paru hekini olop solop discuss kori dila. Okay, you can say about interoperability, you can see about all such number of exercises. Okay, ei kotha kini jodi ami koi du because Thailand has got very good proximity towards the South China Sea where India has also got interest. But today China is over dominating this particular region. So ekhini amar eta ahi jay. So ekhini jodi koi dia that means you have directly met up the requirement of this particular question. Okay, next I will critically examine the aims and objectives of the SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. I can guarantee you that this question will basically come under the APSc mains exam this year. কারণ এবার Shanghai Cooperation Organization to কিহৰ কাৰণে ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট আছিল because এবাৰ পাকিস্তান ইন্ডিয়া আহিছিলে to attend Pakistan external affairs ministers came to India to attend this particular summit. So হেতু কাৰণে SCO was very much important. তো ইয়াতে কৈলা SCO to কি হয় ওকে তাৰপিছত SCO মেইন মোটো to কি হয় হেতু কৈলা তাৰপিছত ক'লে why important SCO is for India mainly to connect Central Asian countries. Okay, so obviously ইয়াতে mainly importance খিনি কৈ দিলে এটা দুটা then তিনটা then you can go ahead with 4 also. If not, you can collaborate with 3 also. That is your choice. So, then lastly, you have to say that how this relation can be improved and how India could benefit out from this particular participation of SCO because as ki hoise Pakistan does not wants to go ahead with this SCO. Kihor kane jabo bisora nai just because Pakistan wants to make this SCO a field or a platform to discuss about Kashmir issue. But আমি হেবিলাকলে বহুত ওপৰত যাও আমি তাতকে বহুত ওপৰত ভাবিছো যে how we can collaborate more with this SCO. So হেতু আমাৰ কাৰণে বহুত ডাঙৰ এটা সিনাৰিও হৈ যায়. Then we can see about the next question. The newly trinational partnership AUKUS যেটো মই মাত্ৰ আগতে কৈ আছিলো aimed at countering China's ambition in the Indo-Pacific region. It is going to supersede the existing partnership in the region. Discuss the strength and impact of AUKUS in present scenario. So যেতিয়া মই AUKUS বুলি কওঁ তাতে কোন সোমাই আছে Australia, UK and US. So these are the 3 countries which is directly going with this AUKUS. Okay, so yate mainly ami kole hol ki that what is the importance of this AUKUS on this Indo-Pacific. So it will mainly go for and how does it will counter the activities that has been done by the respective Quad. Quad e ki kori ase AUKUS e ki kori ase tar relevance to ami olop discuss kori dibo lagibo. Tarpot AUKUS or impact to ki poribo India ekhini olop koi diba. Okay, ইয়াত লিখা আছে then we can see about that why India needs to remember the following, that why India needs to remember that how countries like US, how countries like UK, how countries like Australia is important in the context of India. So hekhini jodi alop discuss kori I can say that it will be more and more important for you to follow such number of process to go ahead with this entire steps that is needed to follow in respective of AUKUS. Okay, next Aizwa, what are the main challenges facing the LGBTQ community in terms of social justice and how can they be addressed? Mainly etu governance related question hoy. Okay, LGBTQ community ami all jano etu lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, okay, jikhini amar pau hei khini tekhetokolor kotha yate ahe. So obviously yate ki humai ase, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer and intersex people are collectively referred to as LGBTQ+ community. So ইয়াৰ লগত যিখিনি আৰু আহি যাব সেইখিনি সবকে এটো বুলি কোৱা যায়. So in India it has faced a long and arduous journeys in the pursuit of social justice and equal rights. Despite India's rich cultural and historical diversity, the community still faces numerous challenges and obstacles in their everyday lives. So main challenges কি হৈ আছে biology in India in terms of social justice can be broadly categorized into these areas like first তেখেতসকলে discrimination বহুত পায়. Okay, আজিও আমি তেখেতসকলক মানুহ বুলি গণ্য নকৰো, এটো আমাৰ এটা বহুত ডাঙৰ প্ৰবলেম আহি আছে. Then we can see health inequalities বহুত আছে তেখেতসকলৰ মাজত. Okay, then we can see lack of employment opportunities, তেখেতসকলক কোনো চাকৰি দিব নিবিচাৰে just because of their orientations. Lack of education, আজি তেখেতসকলৰ proper education নাই, তেখেতসকলৰ কাৰণে proper system নাই য'ত তেখেতসকলে গৈ পেলাই education ল'ব পাৰে. Okay, because obviously today this LGBTQ+ community is basically seen as a taboo in the context of Indian society. তাৰপিছত পসিবল সলিউশনস কি হ'ব পাৰে, কিছুমান এডুকেশন প্ৰগ্ৰামস আমি কৰিব লাগে, কমিউনিটি এৱাৰনেস কৰিব লাগিব, হেলথ সাৰ্ভিস ইনক্লুড কৰিব লাগিব, এমপ্লয়মেন্ট অপৰচুনিটিজ কৰিব লাগিব, তেখেতসকলক সাপোৰ্ট দিব লাগিব বহুতখিনি ক্ষেত্ৰত. তো এইখিনি কথা যদি লিখি দিয়া that I can say that will be more than sufficient for you toward this number of question that has been asked in this context of governance. Okay, মই ইমান বেছি কৈ নাথাকো, ইয়াতে বহুতখিনি গভৰ্নমেন্ট মেকানিজমস আছে, ইনিশিয়েটিভ নেশনাল হেলথ পলিসি 2017 অৰ ট্ৰান্সজেন্ডাৰ পিপলত সোমাব লাগে, নেশনাল কাউন্সিল ফৰ ট্ৰান্সজেন্ডাৰ পাৰ্সন ইয়াতে আহিছে. Okay, then you can see about Swabhiman scheme, which is Department of the Social Justice Ministry. তেখেতসকলে কৰিছে for employment of these transgenders. Okay, so তেনেকুৱা টাইপৰ আমি বহুত কিটা স্কিমছৰ কথা কৈ পেলাই we can end up this particular question. Okay, চলো next. Microfinancing was introduced in India as a solution to poverty and empower self-help groups. Despite strong potential, the microfinance sector faces challenges related to accessibility in India. এটো আমাৰ এনালাইজ কৰিব দিছে. Okay, mainly কি হয়, mainly কিহৰ কথা কৈছে, microfinancing বহুত ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট ফ্যাক্টৰ হৈ যায় microfinancing. Okay, বহুত ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট হৈ যায়. চলো. Okay, so a sort of banking service called microfinance is offered to people who find it difficult to acquire traditional financial services. It is intended for the unemployment and low income demographic segment, and the organization that promotes microfinance provides products and services including lending, opening bank accounts and micro insurance. So এই গুটেখিনি বস্তু মাইক্রো ইন্স্যুরেন্স বুলি ক'লে আমি বুজি পাওঁ য'ত এটা কম পপুলেশন থাকে, য'ত তেখেতসকল ইমান ওয়েল অফ নহয়, সৰু সৰু কিছুমান পইচাৰ গোট খোলে, যেনেকৈ আমি কওঁ যে মহিলা গোট আছে. Okay, so এই সৰু সৰু গোটৰ পৰা তেখেতসকলে পইচা লেন্ড কৰে, and this is very essential once you are directly breathing, once you are directly going ahead in a sector which is totally unorganized. So সেই মাইক্ৰোফাইনেন্স টো আজি তেখেতে বহুত মানুহে আজি মাইক্ৰোফাইনেন্স কৰি পেলাই বহুত লাভো কৰিছে, বহুত লোকসানো গৈছে. তো এইখিনি কন্ট্ৰোল কৰাটো আজি কাৰণে বহুত ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট হৈ যায়. Okay, so in India, microfinance are tasked with filling two critical gaps. First, facilitating women's access to official banking system, and second, fostering their confidence to do so. So, এই দুটা বস্তু আমাৰ কাৰণে important হৈ যায়. Okay, potential for microfinance sector. Currently, the industry covers 620 districts in 28 states and 8 UTs, serving almost 6 crore unique clients with a total portfolio worth rupees 2,31,000 crore. Very, very important. এইবিলাক ডাটা ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট হৈ যায়. ওকে, কি ক'লে কারেন্টলি দ্য ইন্ডাস্ট্রি কভার্স 620 ডিস্ট্রিক্ট. কোনটো ইন্ডাস্ট্রি? মাইক্রোফাইনেন্স সেক্টর. Okay, in 28 states and 8 UTs, serving almost 6 crore unique clients with a total portfolio worth rupees 2,31,000 crore. এই বস্তুবিলাক যিবিলাক ডাটাজ হয়, এই ডাটাজবিলাক ইনক্লুডেড কৰিব খুজিবা, ইনডিউস কৰিব খুজিবা, আৰু যেতিয়া তোমালোকে এইবিলাক বস্তু বেছিকৈ কৰিবা, at some point of time I can directly say that this will leverage at least 1 mark greater as compared to someone others who is not writing such number of datas. Okay, Saba. Then extensive network of microfinance institutions can be used to reach rural populations with different products and services. By extending financial support to its customers, the industry can help them create employment prospects for others in addition to hiring people from the hinterland. Very, very, very important thing. Then challenges faced by microfinance today. Key fail to focus people who are below the poverty level. Okay, so can নোৱাৰে আজি include কৰিবলৈ. Okay, even they could not directly level up the requirements based on this particular sector. নোৱাৰে হেতু কৰিব. Then you can see that the coverage of microfinance program is low in those states where a large percentage of the population lives in poverty. সেইখিনি জায়গাত কিন্তু microfinance নাই, য'ত poverty টো বেছি because কাৰণ তাতে পইচা দিব কোনে, তাত মানুহৰ হাতত পইচাই নাথাকে. Okay, কোনে থব যাব তাত. Borrowers are interest sensitive, so that their capacity of borrowing decreases with an increase in interest rates. Thus, high interest rates are counterproductive and weaken the economic status of poor clients. So, আজিকালি microfinance যিবিলাক rates হৈছে, lending rates, এইবিলাকো বাঢ়ি গৈছে. আৰু তাৰ কাৰণে কি হৈছে? তাৰ কাৰণে obviously at some point of time we are losing, these people are losing interest on this microfinance sectors and they are moving towards the systematized banks available in the respective localities. Okay, so India has a low literacy rate, যাৰ কাৰণে এইবিলাকৰ কোনো output নাই. Okay, so এইখিনি আমাৰ কিছুমান problems আছে and then you have to go for a way forward that how we can improve the microfinance sector in our country. Okay, chalo, going with the last question. The sedition law mainly has been used as a muzzling mechanism and is a weapon against the constitutional spirit of modern democracy. Critically examined. Here mainly কি কথা কৈছে sedition law. Sedition মানে secession law. আজি আলফাৰ যদি মই কম পৰেশ বড়ো তেখেতে কি কৰি আছে? Sedition. Okay, he wants basically an independent Assam. আজি খাপলাঙি কি কৰি আছে? Same thing, sedition. So all this acts has been basically charged against these individuals who has been terming India and has been swearing India to break into any means. বহুত কিটা states of break কৰিব খুজি আছে. So it mainly ক'ব লাগিব introduction to the sedition act to পৰা আহিলে colonial era পৰা আহি আছিল আমাৰ ইয়াত. Okay, then sedition law as a weapon against constitutional spirit of modern democracy. So sedition to কি কৰে? Against, it says against the free speech. Free speech or against আছে. Then you can see that obviously free speech normal pora hi ase under article 19(1)(a) etu kole aru bhal hoy freedom of speech and expression. Okay, that it is against dissent, it has been arbitrarily employed to quell dissension. The primary targets have frequently been writers, journalists, activists who contest government initiatives and policies. মানে এটো কথাটো কি কৈছে যে আজিকালি এটো নহয় যে এই সেডিশন টু অকল স্পেসিফিক্যালি কিছুমান মানুহৰ ওপৰত লগোৱা যায়। আজিকালি এটো বস্তু দেখিছো যে সবটাত লগোৱা যায়। জুনে গভৰ্ণমেন্টৰ এগেইনষ্টে কৈছে, maybe he is not anti-India, he may be anti-government, but still sedition charge is put against those individuals who have said something against government just because they think it to be anti-government. So এই বস্তুবিলাকো আহিছে, okay, and that is basically against dissent. So আজি এটো কেনেকৈ আমি কৰিব পাৰিম? Also you can see that it is abolishing Western liberal democracies. So sedition was no longer a criminal in the UK over 10 years because it interfered with the right to free speech. And when considering the right to free speech, the UK agreed that sedition was a remnant of bygone period and had no place in contemporary society, an essential complement of a genuine democracy. So etu eta important hoi jay jot ami dekhisu je sedition law to Western democracy etu ki kora goise, totally abolish kora goise. So why you cannot be abolished in a country like India? Okay, also we can see enormous consequences for wrongly charged. Okay, so আজি বহুত খিনি আমি convictions dekhisu jot wrongly charged kori pele even the persons who have charge sheeted the respective file, they are put behind bars. So eblak ami koribo lage so that wrong peoples cannot be under this particular section, and this is a very strong act. It is lagi goise kabatat, it's a totally non bailable warrant, kuno bail koribo nware and the bail is very difficult. So etu ami eta sabo lagibo, thik ase. Tar pisot need of sedition law kihor karone, karon internal security threats ase etio amar alpha pora ase, maoistor pora ase, terrorism pora ase, thik ase. Then what is the particular process that you needs to go ahead to solve this discretion that you have towards the sedition law? So here the constitutional spirit of modern democracy involves freedom of speech, and 124(a) has chilling effect on the constitutional rights, and the court guidelines given in the various decision read to sedition law and free speech may be quoted formally to eliminate the abuse of sedition law. So etu amar kane eta bahut important factor hoi jay when we discuss about sedition law, that aji ami sedition law to amak lage na na lage. It is same like that amak capital punishment lage na lage. So today it is directly going with a debate. So tumalage ekhiniu jodi koi dia jiman khini moi aji pdf to dekhalo, ekhiniu jodi koi dia, that I can guarantee you that you will score some of the good marks as well as the maximum marks in this particular GS2 paper, which is the damn easy paper. Okay, so I give all the best to everyone in this particular subject so as they can appear, because obviously it is in the second day, second day ase a paper phone. So please do write well and also go ahead with the model answers that will be provided by us in the form of PDF, and then you can leverage your maximum ability by going ahead with the type of model answers that has been supplied to you via this particular channel. So that is all from me now. Thank you all and have a good day.